The poems I'm sharing today don't have a massive connection, other than they're all written by yours truly. I will say they present a nice cross section of the general areas I like to dive into. Not all of the areas, but some of the popular places I like to go. The first one is a topic that is a place, a challenge that's a constant in my life, a place that's uncomfortable for most, but a place that's second nature for me. I write often about this topic because I am painfully aware of how familiar it is to me, yet wholly foreign for many. Previous poems that have ventured around this area are often getting the oddest of comments. The topic is violence. Violence leaves more than bruises. It leaves stories. This poem's not about staying pretty. It's about surviving ugly. When life scatters your pieces across the floor, what you do next is what defines you. This poem is for the broken who refuse to stay down. This poem's entitled Scars That Sing. Violence could always find me. I could run, but I could never hide. A human sore thumb after the hammer. Hated for who I was, so it's no surprise when brutality decided to pay me another visit. As the blow was launched, like marbles, parts of my head rolled aimlessly about the floor. There's always beauty embedded in the horrific, like the tornado's eye, with its singing birds and butterflies fluttering their careless wings. Sitting amongst your parts looks pathetic, but only those who have entered the ring know the truth. Without a monumental fall, you can never rise like Lazarus. Those without the scars to prove it can only dream of these moments. Somehow my race wasn't run. I was more valiant than I deserved. Damaged, not broken. Eventually, ready to fight another day. It's what I was made for. I hope that poem can resonate with you, even if it's not a place you're used to, and I hope for your sake, that's the fact. I admit to being rather odd, and this is probably a perfect example. But for me, I see a brutal elegance of survival when life's hammer swings the hardest. I wanted to illustrate the raw destruction violence can inflict, not just on the body, but on the soul. Yet hidden within the wreckage, there's an undeniable beauty, a fierce, battered will that refuses to die. You may not like the brutal imagery and painfully honest reflection, but it's the only way I know how to share what it means to be destroyed but not defeated, scarred but somehow still singing. I hope you see it for what I want it to be, a tribute to those who have tasted the floor, who have gathered their scattered pieces and dared to rise again. That poem's intended to share that survival isn't always pretty, but it's glorious in its own twisted way. With my poems, I know I can be challenging. And if that's something that's appealing, put poems in the comments and I'll share a link that has some exclusive content plus a massive discount on my upcoming book. Now let's look at some topics and a poem that's not nearly as serious. This is an observation that I want to share, and I hope you see that the topic is superficial, but I see much more in the fact that we make this decision. For me, that's much bigger than the actual act. This poem's entitled Chasing the Wind, Time's Ultimate Joke. Time is constant. Time is not linear. Clocks are a construct to control the recalcitrant, a tottering attempt to put our arms around the wind. Controlling time is man's most absurd folly. Early men created elaborate stories to explain the things they didn't understand. Clocks are no different. For example, daylight savings. Sure, let our power over the sun reign supreme. Time is collected and measured in our minds. So it's fluid. Sometimes it's blistering along, yet other times it's dragging. Both are time, but they're not congruent, yet we make them the same. Like Fortuna, time answers a question we're not yet smart enough to know. We're here until we're not. We'll be there when we get there, and it will be here when it arrives. Little, if nothing, can change these realities. With that said, time for me to go. I'm curious to know how that poem lands. I want to dismantle this fragile illusion that time is something we can control. At first glimpse, you might say, so what? But I wrote that poem to expose clocks, calendars, and even daylight savings as desperate tools, crafted by humanity to corral what we have never been able to tame, and we certainly aren't ever going to control. Time isn't constant or linear. It's fluid, elastic, and wholly beyond our grasp. Our efforts to standardize it are nothing more than ancient myth-making dressed up in a modern garb, and believing otherwise is, in my opinion, pure folly. I like to think that poem's a wake-up call for anyone still shackled by the ticking hands of a clock. Now let's look at another poem. This is a topic about us and who we associate with. Sometimes the people around you say more about you than your own words. They carry the same bruises, the same hunger to be seen differently. I just didn't happen to find my tribe. What I really found was myself. This poem was about what it really means to belong. This poem's entitled, "The Light Looks Different Here." Whom you choose to associate with says a lot. It's a calling card that lets others know what matters, what you fear and treasure. That's why I choose to run with the hunted, those who don't see the light in the same colors as most. A crowd that's looking to be scarred from time to time. As an ugly guy, perhaps it was less about me making a decision than a choice presented without other options. In the end, it doesn't matter because I'm where I feel legit. Being in your tribe's a settling feeling. It's the only chance to be comfortable in your own skin. I'm thankful. Does that poem make you look at your relationships maybe in a different light? I really believe that the truth is that our crowd isn't random. It's a reflection of our fears, our values, and the wars we've survived. And belonging isn't about choice, but necessity. I discovered a long time ago that when the world sees you as different, ugly, or broken, you find comfort among those who wear those same scars, those who see the light through the same shattered lens that you do. I like to look at that poem as a gritty tribute to the ones who the world overlooks, the haunted, and the heavy-hearted. It's about the raw belief of finding your people, your tribe, and the only ones who make you feel like you're enough without changing a thing. If you've ever found home in the broken pieces, that poem, I think it's going to hit right where it matters most. Speaking of poems that hit, let's continue this conversation with these poems here. I think you're going to enjoy them and the conversation with yourself they'll inspire. I'll see you there now.